Okay, thank you so much for joining the information session for the UVA Virtual Global Internships program. It's very exciting to see some of you here in real time. I know that this is really not an ideal time in the school week for an info session, so we are recording this session so it will be accessible to everyone leading up to the application deadline, which is on April 1st. My aim with this session is just to talk through and highlight some of the key information that's already on the program brochure, which I hope you've had the chance to look at, but just so that you have hopefully a clearer picture of what the experience may be like. And I'm just going to move right through this presentation, and you can feel free to ask questions at the end, but please feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. I'm happy for you to jump in. And then, of course, if you have questions that occur to you later on, please don't hesitate to reach out because I would always be really happy to hear from you. So I wanted to start by sharing a bit of context and history so that it might be clear why we have this virtual program among our education abroad offerings now in 2024. So I can really hardly believe it, but this is actually going to be the 5th summer that we're offering the Virtual Global Internships program. And it began in 2020 with COVID, of course, because all education abroad programs became impossible to run. And as international educators, of course, we still believed that it was critical for UVA students to learn about other communities and ways of being in other parts of the world. And so that's why this program was started with some of our strong local on-the-ground partners that we had been working with for some time. And so the program was successful for COVID times, but then also, much to my surprise, we've also found that it continues to be an interesting way to develop global connections and understanding. So we know that not everyone can travel in the summer and actually do an in-person education abroad program, but this program is actually still a way to have a truly global experience, no matter where you may be in the world. And then also, additionally, I will just note another reason that I feel this program is really valuable is because it's a pathway for those of us at UVA to learn more about conditions in countries in sub-Saharan Africa. So we do not run education abroad programs in person in Nigeria or Botswana, or certainly not in Zimbabwe. And so, but these are still places that we should very much be learning about. And through these virtual relationships that come through this program, you can. And I think that that's actually pretty amazing and important. So this program involves a number of people and parties. That's the way that global internship programs go. And so we're all working together for you to make these opportunities available for you. And so just to start on the UVA side, my name is Ingrid Hakala, and I serve as the UVA director of the program. And I will also be instructing the 1-credit course that's associated with the program. I'll speak more in a few moments just about our other partners. But I think with the virtual programs particularly, it's really important for us all to acquaint ourselves with one another as human beings, because of course it is harder to create a sense of connection through a screen. So yes, I am the person who is sending you emails all the time. Before we get into more details, I do just want to go over a few program basics to make sure that everyone understands and is on the same page. So this year, the program will take place from June 3rd to July 26th, and that's 8 weeks long. And in order to be eligible, you need to have completed 1 semester at UVA, have a minimum GPA of 3.0, and be in good disciplinary and academic standing. And we will do checks for that. And then also the program does have 1 academic credit associated with it. It's a direct UVA credit, elective credit in the college. And then diving into the program experience, I would like to underline at the outset that this is an academic global internship program, and you very well may wonder, what exactly does that mean? So what it means is that there are 2 components to the program. There's an internship, and then there's a course that you will take at the same time. when you'll do both at the same time. So these two components are both integral to the program. They're a package, so you can't do one without the other. And there are many different reasons why we structure our programs this way, but I think ultimately what it comes down to is that we believe that your capacity to contribute to your internship organization, and then your ability to think critically about your cross-cultural work and your role in it, it's enriched by having this academic reflective frame around it. And then also, particularly working virtually can be quite tough at times. And so we really want to provide you with a support structure through the experience. Also, just a little bit of a side note here, UVA as a rule does not give credit for academic work itself. It's just something that they do not do. This is different universities have different approaches to this. But so this is an academic program, but that means that the credit that you would receive, it comes from the work that you would do for the global studies course, not from your actual work in your internship. So I hope that that distinction is clear to you. For the academic portion of the program, as I mentioned before, there's a 1 credit class. It's a global studies course titled Interning Abroad in Virtual Conditions. It's mostly online. There will be a couple of synchronous sessions, short synchronous sessions throughout the 8 weeks. And as I said before, the aim is really to provide you with a semi-academic theoretical framework to guide your experiential learning through this cross-cultural virtual internship. And so the assignments are designed to reflect that. So they are reflective, analytic, experiential in nature. We really aim for this course to not be a burden and for it to just be kind of fun and give you some opportunities to develop closer relationships with your colleagues and also classmates. So it's really just supposed to be there to help you. And then for the internships itself, I'm sure that you're curious about that. So for this program, we are really pleased and truthfully, I mean, quite honored to be closely partnered with the Presidential Precinct, which is a Charlottesville-based nonprofit. And it's a unique organization which operates with a 5-member consortium of the Commonwealth's top universities and then several of the premier historical and educational sites in the area. And the Mandela Washington Fellowship is an extremely prestigious program that's run by the US Department of State, in which young leaders of exceptional promise from sub-Saharan Africa are selected to come to the US for leadership training. It is incredibly selective. I think it's something like only 2% of the people who apply are chosen to participate. And so the Presidential Precinct, they host a group of these Mandela Washington Fellows in Charlottesville each year and provides to them this, this leadership training over several weeks. So that's a big part of what the Presidential Precinct does. And so for our program, we partnered with them to reach out to their network of these Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni to source these internship positions. And so these just amazing young people, they have returned to their countries after engaging in this fellowship program in Charlottesville. And many of them have founded their own organizations, or they've come to leadership positions in other established organizations. And so they have applied to host UVA students because they are very keen for your enthusiasm and expertise and perspectives to contribute to their organization's missions. These are people who I think, you know, they have experienced it themselves. They really know the value of international exchange and mentorship. So having them as your supervisors for these virtual global internships, I think is just it's a great privilege. And I'm not sure if you've noticed this on the program brochure and then on the internship descriptions, but there are links to read more about the Mandela Washington Fellow who is sponsoring the internship with each organization. So you'll want to take a look at those. And so just in case you haven't found it already, the list of opportunities for this summer are to be found on the Academics and Internships tab of the program brochure. And we are very delighted to have 11 organizations from 5 countries offering positions to you all this year. And I hope that you've seen for yourself the kinds of really interesting subjects with which these organizations deal. So there's they deal with peacekeeping, government accountability, gender-based violence, education reform, sustainable agriculture, and on and on. So in that list of opportunities for this summer, there are links to these individual position descriptions, and you would have to click through to them. They're PDFs. They include a good amount of detail, I hope. So there's an introduction to the organization, a description of the internship, ideas about what they think you might learn by participating in the experience, preferred qualifications, languages spoken, if there's any advanced work needed, etc. So yeah, we have tried to provide a lot of information to you. And you'll see that a lot of the host organizations are looking for interns to help with key activities such as communications, fundraising, and program development. So these are things that all nonprofits and social enterprises have to do very well in order to keep doing the good work that they're doing on the ground. So these organizations can really use your help as UVA students because you bring real skills to the table. You can communicate through many different modes. You can write and speak persuasively. You can organize events and campaigns, even virtually. You can strategize. You can conduct research, more and more and more. So you actually bring a lot to the table to these organizations. I would say that you should use these internship descriptions as starting points. So if you have particular skills or interests that you could bring to the organization that they haven't mentioned, it's very likely that they could become a part of what you would do through a discussion with your supervisors, since they will definitely be invested in making this a valuable learning opportunity for you. So if you have ideas about other ways that you'd like to contribute to the organization, you should feel free to bring that up in the cover letters that you write for the positions, and then once you start working with your supervisors. And so a few more practicalities. These are part-time internships in the summer. So you would not be expected to sit at your computer for 40 hours a week, just typing away. It would be for 10 to 15 hours a week. And the exact timings, where you would be when you would work, the meeting schedules, all of that is something that you would set with your individual supervisors. And you could probably be prepared for the fact that a lot of the work that you would be doing, you would be accomplishing on your own schedule. So whenever it's convenient for you. The number of interns at each organization will vary. So it might be just one UVA student, it might be up to 4. So it depends on how many students apply for positions and then how many interns are needed by the organization and how much work they have to do. So you should definitely be prepared for some time zone juggling. That's part of the whole experience of a virtual international internship. And also, I mean, so with 10 to 15 hours a week, some students who participate in this program, they manage multiple commitments. So they might have another job, a paying job. They might be taking other classes at the same time. So, of course, you have to decide for yourself what would suit you, what you would feel comfortable doing, how many different commitments you could make this summer. But students in the past have definitely done this with some planning. So it can be done. And so I'll definitely be honest with you, working remotely across cultures and countries is not always easy and simple. It can definitely challenge you in all sorts of ways. And so we are going to examine those challenges together in the course that you would take and give each other support through the experience. So in terms of how you will do your work, you can expect to use email, Zoom, WhatsApp, Google applications, Teams, telephone, social media, all of this. So you will really need to use every single means of connection that you can think of to coordinate and develop relationships with your colleagues in Africa. And then cost and support, we know that this is very important, of course. The program costs can be found on the costs and finances tab of the program brochure, which again, I hope that you found. So there are costs associated with this program, despite the fact that you're not traveling anywhere. And that's because there is a course involved in the program, and there's program administration. So that's where the cost comes in. It would be this way for any summer course that you would take. But I do want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that there's a special form of support for this program. There's the Global Internship Scholarship. And so the awards can range up to the full costs of the program. And so financial need is of top priority, but then academic merit and the quality of your application also count. So this is just like a tip now for those of you who are listening to the info session. Do a good job with your personal statement because that's what the scholarship committee will be reading. And so in order to apply for the scholarship, all you need to do is just answer a question in the program application itself. It will ask, do you want to be considered for this award? And if you say yes, we will do that. And so now that hopefully you have a sense of what the program would be like, I did want to focus for just a few moments on why you might want to seek out such a learning experience in the first place. There are so many different dimensions of learning that come from international internships. And surprisingly, you can engage in all of them, even if you're actually not traveling around the world when you're working. So there's the professional. Employers these days definitely want candidates who can successfully work in virtual or hybrid arrangements. That is the world that we live in now. So through this experience, you will have a position on your resume and stories that you can discuss in interviews, which illustrate how you were able to function and thrive in this new kind of work environment. And then social dimensions of learning, it is definitely harder to create deep social ties with your colleagues when you're not working side by side with them, but that does not mean that it's impossible. So your global network through this program, it will expand, and you just have no idea what that might lead to in the future, what these kinds of connections might reveal to you later. And then for cultural and global learning, catching a firm grasp on the cultural aspects of both your and your colleagues' work, it might be challenging to do in a virtual program, but again, that doesn't mean that it's not possible. It doesn't mean that culture is not there and impacting the way that you are doing your work and your colleagues are doing your work. Culture isn't everything, including virtual work. And so we'll do a bit of thinking to try and uncover those layers of culture, particularly in the class. And then for academic learning, assisting an organization doing work that's related to subjects that are of interest to you academically, it's a really great way to acquire another perspective on them. It can even be a nice way to kind of jumpstart a capstone project or other work that you might do for classes in the future. And then finally, personal learning. There's a lot that you can stand to learn about yourself through this program, your strengths, what challenges you, what fulfills you in terms of work. And so, even though you may be very well sitting at home, you can still develop insights about yourself. So I would say that, we are looking for applicants for this program who are excited about all these dimensions of learning. To me, they are all important, not just the professional learning. So, if that is exciting to you too, then please talk about that in your application and your cover letters, and let us know, because that is a great way to start out with the program. And then I will say this many times if you participate in the program, but even if you're at the stage of applying for one of these global internship programs, I think it's really important to prepare yourself to follow your questions and your curiosity through the experience rather than holding on to really rigid goals. Um, so you should be prepared to be flexible, adaptable, open-minded, patient, and to expect the unexpected. So taking this guidance to heart will set you up to have a positive experience. And then regardless of the specific tasks and activities that you'll be engaging in your particular internship, it's very likely that you will be practicing and developing transferable skills and qualities. So you might not even realize that this is happening when it's happening. But at the end of the program, we will work together to help you translate your everyday experiences in your virtual internship into language that future employers and graduate school committee members will understand, into that language of transferable skills, so that you can take this experience forward on your next steps and make it really valuable and count for you. And so over 60 students have participated in this program over the years, more than that now. And so we have many different reflections from program alumni about what the experience meant to them. And so we don't have program alumni here in person to chat with you, but I did just want to share a few of their words so that you could hear more directly from students rather than just from me about what the experience is like. So one student said, in addition to valuable professional skills, this internship built my community skills and empathy. And this is the aspect of my internship that I valued most. Working with this internship has given me a more nuanced and well-rounded perspective on people's rights and needs. Another student said, I dramatically broadened my skill set, working independently online, using new software, and designing a research framework. I recommend this experience to anyone interested in international development, global work, or expanding their intercultural and language skills. This is a one-of-a-kind opportunity to work directly in the field from the comfort of home. And then finally, becoming exposed to the challenges of another country has been eye-opening. It has allowed me to gain access to another worldview and how other people than those I have been surrounded with overcome hurdles, not only as individuals, but whole communities. And so now just onto a few more practicalities, next steps in the application. That application is due on April 1st. It's kind of a late deadline. We hope that that's helpful for you. In the application itself, there are short answer essays, signature documents, so basically just things that you would need to read and sign off on. You would need to provide resume and also, sorry, it's not listed here, but cover letters. And there's an application fee, but there's a waiver available for Pell eligible students, and that's just a simple DocuSign form that's, I think, fairly easy to upload. And when you're applying for this program, you're welcome to apply for up to 2 positions to work with 2 organizations. So when you do that, you will want to provide a ranking of which one is your top choice, and then also provide tailored cover letters for both of those positions with your application. You would upload them both at the same time. And so if if you're interested in 2 positions, I would really recommend that you apply for 2, because doing that will definitely increase your chances of being selected. And if you have questions about your cover letter, how to put one together that's compelling, please reach out to me. I'm really happy to give suggestions about that. So I certainly want to help you be successful in your applications and in presenting your best self to our colleagues in these different organizations. And then with after you submit your application, you will want to be ready to respond to follow-up inquiries and maybe even requests for interviews from our colleagues in Africa. So just be checking your email after you submit your application in case one of these requests come through. And you would know whether you are accepted to the program and which internship you would be offered by April 10th. So 10 days after the deadline. And then you would have until the 15th to commit to the program. And if there's a wait list, those students will be accepted to the program as or if positions become available. So, okay, I think that that's all that I have to cover now. I hope that that wasn't too long, but does anyone who is here right now have any questions that you would like to ask? Isabel?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, I know, so usually how many kids apply and how many kids get chosen for like overall? I know each position is a little different.
Oh gosh, I really wish that I could give you a clear answer to that. Every year, this program is a bit different, and we have different partners every year. So, I mean, like when this program took place, when we ran this program in 2021, there were 35 participants. Last summer there were 16, and so you know, it just kind of the every year it's a little bit different. Um, uh, Again, certain positions and certain organizations are more popular than others. So if you have particular questions or concerns about whether or not you would be chosen for a particular organization, you can reach out to me and I can talk you through what the likelihood is. But yeah, I mean, my very vague advice or my very vague answer is that my goal is to place as many or connect as many students with organizations as possible. So I will always, like, that's my goal, is to try and get you a placement if you are eligible for the program and keen to participate. Does that help at all?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, it's not a definitive answer, but okay, well, if that's all the questions right now, thank you so much for participating, and I hope you'll stay in touch. There's a good amount of time to apply and to ask your questions before things are due. So please reach out and have a great rest of your first week back from spring break. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.